Did you know that there are predictions that the Dutch language will be all but gone in 100 years or within a couple of generations? I'm not so sure, but I think it is something we can certainly say that the Dutch language is being tested by the infiltration of especially English. I want to suggest that if there is any fault here, it really lies with the Dutch, because the Dutch tend to promote the English language at every turn. I have a couple of examples right here in front of me that I just grabbed before making this video. In a previous video, I recommended a product that is, the company is headquartered here in Haarlem, and that's the Green Soap Company, and they make this wonderful Marcel's Green Soap. It's entirely in English. From the big print, Marcel's Green Soap, feel good cleaning, 100% vegan, lavender rosemary hand soap, to the fine print, which says hygienic cleaning, 100% recycled plastic, eco-friendly. And on the back, there's a little cartoon with a story, all in English. Marcel, father and 3 beautiful daughters, made 3 promises, and it smells wonderful, it's delicious in use, eco-friendly. I recommend the product, by the way, so it's nothing about Marcel's soap. I really like it, but it is just further evidence of the fact that English is infiltrating. And a second product that I referenced in a recent video, a Dutch product that I recommend, and I just happened to grab this before I came down, and that's a sample from Maurice Delamaris. And again, all of the packaging is entirely in English. Care for water, number 15 amber haze. If I open up the inside and read, it says, inspired by the soft mist cascading over tranquil waters. I even found recently in the organic grocery store a bag of popcorn, and I noticed that the entire packaging of that was in English. And again, it was a Dutch company. So this is happening left and right. And, you know, we see it also in the music scene. If we look at the Eurovision Song Contest, for example, since 2000, the songs since 2000, 21 out of the 24 songs have been in English. And, you know, this wasn't always the case. In the beginning, when the song contest first started in 1956, all the songs were in Dutch. The Dutch entries were all in Dutch until 1974 with the song I See a Star. And it's also true when I consulted a list of the most popular Dutch songs. And again, these are not just the songs that happen to be played on Dutch radio, the popular stations, which also are overwhelmingly in English. But this is a list of the most popular Dutch songs by Dutch artists. And I looked at the top 10. 9 out of 10 were in English, with the exception of one, which happened to be in Portuguese, again, by a Dutch DJ. I have always felt that there is a generational divide among Dutch people in regard to the acceptance of English. I have found, again, from my Dutch colleagues, that if they're over the age of, say, 50, there's more resistance to English. And among the young people, they not only don't resist English, on the contrary, I find that they embrace the language. And we see many examples of English infiltrating the Dutch language. I hear it all the time when I listen to Dutch people in conversation dropping words like chill or cool or relaxed or comfort zone. It seems that in 2014 there was even a survey among the Dutch about their favorite English word in the Dutch language, which in that year happened to be the word awkward. And that's maybe an appropriate word because I know this conversation is awkward. And again, I do expect a lot of feedback. I'm not by any means saying that one way is right or one way is wrong. I really try to think beyond those limitations and think beyond the black and white. I just know my story and my perspective, so I share that. I think language is important to a local culture, and I do think it is tied to the culture, so I don't deny that. I know in the United States, for example, there is an increase in Spanish, in the Spanish language, and many official documents, even the voter registration and the ballot, were both in English and Spanish. So maybe the United States is making some of those same mistakes, if you will, by accommodating Spanish. I don't know, but it's a question that I pose, and I just ask the question. Is the Dutch language dying? There are 28 million speakers of Dutch, and so if it is dying, I don't think it's going to disappear anytime soon, but there are many linguists who believe that the language will be relegated to personal life, to conversations around the family table, and not so much in business and in the world at large. I don't know. I don't know. Again, it's just a question that I ask. One criticism that I see raised frequently is that the Dutch have themselves to blame because many times if they detect an accent, even when someone is speaking Dutch, they respond in English. My husband, who is Mexican, has experienced this countless times, and he just persists, and he has had conversations where the Dutch person continues in English and he continues in Dutch. It is such an irony. And I've experienced that myself. I saw a comment in one of my videos from a viewer who has an Irish friend, and they mentioned that that Irish friend was finally able to learn Dutch when they went to Suriname, where I've been, by the way, because in Suriname, the Surinamese will respond more slowly. They'll still speak Dutch, but they'll just kind of slow it down and speak more clearly when they detect that someone has an accent. So it's possible then for the non-native speaker to learn the language, whereas all too often here in the Netherlands, the well-meaning and tolerant Dutch tend to respond in English. So that is part of this issue. We see this playing out in academia as well. The Dutch seem to prioritize international students. That probably has to do with the mola related to that. But as of 2021, 35% of the programs at the universities were conducted in English, and that is only growing. I read that 60% of the classes in graduate school, postgraduate, are conducted in English. And so there is a risk that Dutch is going to lose ground as an academic language. And that is a warning, again, that I'm not making, but that many linguists have made. So it seems that the Dutch language is caught between its rich cultural history and globalization. And it's true that we see in the world of big business and in technology, most times the words are in English, computer programs are in English, and so that also has an influence. So what is to be done? One suggestion that's made by experts is that the Dutch don't readily respond to English speakers in English, but continue in Dutch. I don't know if that's the answer. I don't really know if there is an answer or if this is unstoppable at this stage. Again, my informal survey of the Eurovision entries would suggest that the movement is very much towards more and more English. I just wanted to raise the issue and pose the question to those who know maybe best, the Dutch. Do you think that the Dutch language is at risk? That's the big debate, that's the question of the day, and I look forward, I think, to your responses. So let's have at it. Let's keep talking about this and have an open, honest, and non-judgmental conversation. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon. Take care.